Rahul Chandegra from Dr. Subhash Technical Campus, Degree Electrical Engineering Department. Today's our video lecture based on unit number 4, sampling and reconstruction. In this video lecture we will study the sampling theorem and its application, then aliasing effect. The first of we study why we require sampling and reconstruction. So an incoming signal may come from a digital or analog source. If it is coming from a digital source, then it is in the right form of processing digitally. But input signal can be analog in nature, like speech signal. If we detect temperature, so temperature is number is also analog signal. So video lecture or any form of signal are based on analog, but we have to convert into digital, then processing for amplifying signal, for decrease or increase, decrease noise, increase voice. So it will be processed on digital, then transferred digitally, then after again digital to analog is used. So then it has to be converted into digital form before it can be processed by a digital system. This type of conversion is performed using analog to digital converter. It's also called A to D converter. So continuous time analog signal we can see in this figure. Then the continuous time analog signal goes to sampler. It will sample and make discrete time analog signal, then use quantizer, then the signal become quantized signal, then it goes to encoder, and encoder make a digital signal. This is the process to make analog to digital conversion. So first we study the sampling process, how the sample of the signal. In order to process the signal digitally, the signal to be transmitted must be in the discrete time form. If the message signal is coming from a digital source like a digital computer, then it is in the proper form of processing digitally. But this is not always the case. So most of the time it is a analog signal. So we have to follow this system to make A to D converter. The message signal can be analog in nature, like speech, video signal, anything. In such a case, it has to be first converted into discrete time signal. We use the sampling process to do this. Thus, using the sampling process, we convert a continuous time signal into a discrete time signal. For the sampling process to be practically utility, it is necessary to choose the sampling rate properly. The sampling process should satisfy the following requirements. Sample signal should represent the original signal faithfully. We should be able to reconstruct the original signal from its sample version. So receiver side we can generate the original signal as it is or better signal. So this is the continuous time analog signal. Then it goes to sampler and it makes discrete time analog signal. This is called a sampling process. The sampling is the process of converting a continuous analog signal to a discrete analog signal, and the sample signal is the discrete time representation of the original analog signal. So in this topic we study a little bit theory portion. Now the sampling theorem. In order to represent the original message signal faithfully, without loss of information. It's called a faithfully. It is necessary to take as many samples of the original signal as possible. Higher the number of sample, closer is the representation to the original. The number of samples depend on the sampling rate, the rate which we will sample the analog signal, and the maximum frequency of the signal to be sampled. The sampling theorem gives us the complete idea about the sampling of a signal. In this, we are going to state and explain the sampling theorem. So, sampling theorem was introduced to the communication theory in 1949 by Shannon. Therefore, this theorem is called as Shannon's sampling theorem because it is invented by Shannon in 1949. The statement of sampling theorem in time domain for the band limit signal of finite energy is as follow. So the sampling theorem statement, the first statement, if energy signal x of t contain no frequency higher than W Hertz, that means it is a band limit signal. Then it is completely determined by specifying its value at the instant of time, which are space 1 by 2W second apart. This is the first statement. And the second statement, if a finite energy signal x of t contain no frequency component higher than W Hertz, then it may be completely recovered from its sample, which are spaced 1 by 2W seconds apart. This is the two statement of sampling theorem. We will check its mathematically form also. The explanation about the sampling theorem. The sampling theorem has been stated in two parts. The first part describes the representation of a continuous time signal in its sample form, and the second part tells us about the reconstruction of the original signal from its sample version. So first and second is a reverse process to each other. It should be noted that the sampling theorem has been stated only for the finite energy band limit signal. The two parts of the sampling theorem stated above can be combined together to form a one statement. So, combined statement of sampling theorem is that a continuous time signal x of t can be completely represented in its sample form and also recovered back from the sample form if the sampling frequency f s, the sampling frequency f suffix s greater than or equal to 2W, where W is the maximum frequency of the continuous time signal x of t. Now the rate which we sample, so first we study the Nyquist rate. The minimum sampling rate 2W sample per second for a signal x of t having maximum frequency of W Hertz is called as Nyquist rate. The reciprocal of 1 upon 2W is called Nyquist interval. So the sampling process can be represented graphically as shown in figure. So this is the figure where continuous time signal and sampling function is the second figure. It will be multiplied and we will get the sampling of continuous time signal. So first is continuous signal, second is sampling function, and the third is sampled signal. So the important point about the figure, the first point, x of t is a continuous time analog signal which is to be sampled. So it is our original continuous signal, and the second, the sample function s of t is a sampling function which in this case is a train of impulse spaced at t s second from each other. So after certain duration it is a impulses of number of impulses. And the third signal is the sample signal x of delta t, x delta of t is a discrete time signal which has value equal to the original signal x of t. Only at the sample instant t equal to ts, 2ts, 3ts up to the infinity. At all other instant of time, x delta of t equal to 0. So here the first signal is continuous time analog signal, the second is sampling function, that's so in the train of impulses, then it will be multiply, and the sample signal which have the time duration between signal is ts. So the time difference between the adjacent sample is ts second. So ts called as a sampling period, and the reciprocal of ts, 1 upon ts, is equal to f of fs is called as sampling frequency. In order to ensure that the sample signal x delta t represent the continuous time signal x of t faithfully, so the original signal and the sample signal look like a same, but it is a sampled. It is necessary to have the sampling rate fs higher than the Nyquist rate. The next topic is frequency spectrum of sampled signals. The sampling shown in above figure is called as impulse sampling or ideal sampling, as it uses a train of impulse as a sampling function. In order to confirm if the sample signal x delta t represent the continuous signal x of t, we have to plot the frequency spectrum of the sample signal. So depending on the value of the sampling frequency fs, we can have three options. The first is sampling rate fs greater than 2w. Sampling rate, the second point is sampling rate fs equal to 2w, and the third is sampling rate fs less than 2w, where w is the highest frequency component in the continuous time signal x of t. The spectrum for the three possible value of fs, let the see the figure 2.87. The first above figure is spectrum of continuous signal x of t. Then when the sample signal fs is greater than 2w, so there is a spectrum of sample signal and there is a gap. So here is the gap due to the fs greater than 2w. So there is a no overlapping between the two adjacent signal. So note that the spectrum of the continuous time signal x of f repeat itself about the center frequency of fs, 2fs, 3fs, and as fs is greater than 2w, the gaps or guard bands are produced between the adjacent spectrum. As it will be shown later on, there is no possibility of aliasing due to the presence of these guard bands. So there is a no aliasing effect if fs is greater than 2w. So here the next signal, this is the spectrum continuous signal, and this is called spectrum of sample signal when fs equal to 2w. So this is 0, there is fs, then 2fs, here minus fs, minus 2fs, but the two signal are connected to each other. The shape of the spectrum of sample signal for fs equal to 2w is already shown. It shows that the spectrum of continuous signal xf repeat itself about the center of frequency of fs, 2fs, 3fs up to the infinity. But as fs equal to 2w, the adjacent spectrum touch each other, leaving no gaps, or there is no guard band, or it is a guard band. Still there is no distortion introduced as the adjacent spectrum do not overlap. However, to recover the original continuous signal, we need a low pass filter having very sharp cutoff, which is practically not possible. So by for in this, if fs equal to 2w, after the sample, if we have to reconstruct the original signal, but it is very difficult to design a low pass filter having very sharp cutoff, so it is not possible. Now the third case, fs is less than 2w. So we can see here, this is the spectrum of continuous signal, and due to the fs is less than 2w, so there is a overlap, and it calls aliasing, and this is 0, minus fs, fs, 2fs, and the range is minus w to w. It is the same in all the spectrum of sample signal. So this is the figure of spectrum of sample signal where fs is less than 2w. The spectrum of signal sample at a rate less than the Nyquist rate, so that is fs less than 2w, as shown in figure. See the overlap of adjacent spectrum. This is called as aliasing. Because of aliasing, the higher frequency component in the spectrum of the signal takes identity of lower frequency in the spectrum of its sample version. Therefore, the sampling rate should always be higher than the Nyquist rate. Otherwise, there is the aliasing effect. So this is the must condition. The sampling rate should be always be higher than the Nyquist rate. So now the topic is aliasing effect or fold over error. It is important to remember that a signal cannot be finite in both time and frequency domain. Therefore, if a signal x of t is to be band limited, then it needs to have an infinite duration. In practice, however, we have to work with a finite segment of a signal, for which the spectrum cannot be strictly band limited. Now, as the signal x of t is not strictly band limited, it will contain frequency component outside the range of plus or minus w hertz. Therefore, even though fs equal to 2w, it is possible that fs is less than 2 multiply frequency of maximum, where f max is greater than w. Now let us see the effect of sampling frequency less than 2w. So figure 2.88 show the spectrum of the sample signal x delta of f for fs less than 2w. So here the first figure is continuous signal, then the fs less than 2w, the spectrum of sampled version. So when it is overlap, it is shown as here. So this portion is overlapping, it is overlapping spectrum. So due to overlapping, its value goes to here. So we will get this type of signal after overlapping. Now let us see the effect of sampling frequency. The signal x of t is not strictly band limited. The spectrum of signal x of t we see already seen is x of t the first signal. The spectrum x delta of f of the discrete time signal x delta of t is this signal, part B, which is nothing but the sum of x of f and infinite number of frequency shifted. Now consider the two replicas of x of f which are centered about the frequency fs and minus fs. If we use a reconstruction filter with its passband extending from minus fs by 2 to plus fs by 2, then its output will not be an undistorted version of the original signal x of t. Some distortion will be present in the filter output. The distortion occur due to the overlapping of the adjacent spectrum as shown in the figure. So high frequency and lower frequency due to aliasing. So due to this overlapping, it is seen that the portion of the frequency shifted replicas are folded over inside the desired spectrum. Due to this fold over, the high frequency in x of f are reflected into lower frequencies in x delta of f. This can be understood by comparing the shaded portion of the spectrum shown in figure 2.88 8. So this is higher and lower frequencies overlapping, folded over. So aliasing, it is the phenomena of a high frequency in the spectrum of the original signal x of t, taking on the identity of lower frequency in the spectrum of the sample signal x delta of t, is called as aliasing or fold over error. So effect of aliasing. Due to aliasing, some of the information contained in the original signal x of t is lost in the process of sampling. So what we can do to eliminate aliasing effect? So aliasing can be completely eliminated if we take the following action. The first action is use band limit low pass filter and pass the signal x of t through it before sampling. So this is use of band limiting low pass filter. So we have to pass x of t from the band limit low pass filter, so it is strictly band limited, then it goes to sampler. This filter has cutoff frequency at fc. C indicates the cutoff frequency equal to W. So therefore it will strictly band limit the signal x of t before sampling take place. This filter is also called as anti-aliasing filter or pre-aliasing filter. The second point to eliminate the aliasing effect, they increase the sampling frequency fs to great extent. So fs is more and more higher than 2w. Due to this, even though xt is not strictly band limited, the spectrum will not overlap. A guard band is created between the adjacent spectrum. So here we can see that there is a gap between adjacent spectrum due to the high frequency more than the 2w. This aliasing can be prevented by using an aliasing or pre-aliasing filter, and the second point, using the sampling frequency fs more and more greater than 2w. The most probably it is when aliasing effect is coming is that when fs is very low than 2w or fs is less than 2w. So we already seen the three effect of sampling rate fs greater than 2w, fs equal to 2w, and fs less than 2w. So whenever fs less than 2w, there is a aliasing effect. fs equal to 2w, there is so many problem to reconstruct the signal, but we have to consider fs is greater than 2w, then there is a no problem. Thank you.